And what is going on, everybody? Welcome back into the AFC South Roundtable presented by Roundtable Sports. And also, guys, powered by BetUS, guys. If you guys are interested in getting into the sports gambling scene, want to make this Thanksgiving just a little bit more interesting with 3 football games on the schedule, including 1 game on Black Friday as well. BetUS is going to have a great introductory promo code for you. Use promo code YouTube150 and they're going to get you a 150% deposit bonus, which means if you put down $100, you're going to see $250 show up in your account. So with that said, this weekend, 3 teams played in the AFC South, but 2 games. Of course, we saw the Colts lose to the Lions this weekend, but there was a big game in the AFC South with the upset of the Tennessee Titans over the Houston Texans. We're going to bring some of these guys in. First of all, we'll go ahead and bring in Derek. Derek, a tough loss this weekend, but you guys are still very much alive in this race.
Man, I don't want to hear any of that. I'm still so tilted over last weekend, dude. It's actually insane. I mean, we all knew the Colts likely would lose this game. We all said so. But it's not the fact that they did lose, it's how they lost. And I can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, we'll get into that. And luckily, I mean, if you look ahead, pretty soft schedule coming up. But of course, the Colts have to take care of their own business and learn how to play within themselves to go forward. So next up, look, we had a huge game in the AFC South. Man, a lot of us picked the Texans to destroy the Titans, even Titans Rossi, which is who we are going to bring in next. Titans Rossi, dude, congrats on the big division dub this weekend.
Squirm! They're squirming over there. They're squirming in Houston. And the owner of the Tennessee Titans, she said, I really want to win this game. This is the game I want to win the most. Oh, my God, I want to win it so bad. And what did Will Levis do? He went out there and got sacked 8 freaking times in the belly of the beast. 7 out of the 8 sacks were his fault. He threw a pick 6. And what happened? He balled out, and the Titans won. They beat the Houston Texans. I'm still shocked by it all. You know, like I embraced the tank. I did. I still kind of am embracing the tank because I still think it's possible. But the Titans, man, shout out to the Titans.
Big shot to the Titans. And unfortunately, guys, Ruben said 5 minutes before the stream that he was not going to be able to make it. Just joking, man. We, of course, have Ruben from the 713 Houston Sports YouTube channel. Things are not very good in the H right now. Ruben, sound off, man.
Hey, man, listen, Tennessee, congratulations on your Super Bowl. Amy Adams, congratulations on your Super Bowl. You're still at the bottom of the division. I'm up here at first place. Listen, boys, losses, they happen. This one stinks. We're going to get back, in week 18 when, we're going to be playing for, seeding and stuff like that. But, hey, tough loss, boys. Here we go. Let's get into it.
I mean, with all due respect, they are not at the bottom of the division. The Jaguars are okay. We got that number 1 pick. So don't disrespect the Jaguars like that at 2-9 while the Titans are sitting here at 3-8, which, by the way, number 6 on Tankathon, okay? You guys cannot out-tank the Jacksonville Jaguars, but we'll see how the Jaguars do coming up. Of course, the Jaguars coming off of a bye week after a pretty miserable season, but, the Jaguars ended the season 5 of 6 teams with losing records. Very much a chance that the Jaguars lose that spot, especially if Trevor Lawrence does end up playing. And, usually we go through the injury report, so I'll go ahead and do that. So I'll go to the Jaguars side, man. Speaking of Trevor Lawrence, he is practicing this week. I would suspect that if he didn't have surgery a couple weeks ago when they were kind of talking about it, I would imagine we're probably going to see Trevor Lawrence a little bit, which, I enjoy seeing Trevor Lawrence play a lot more than a Mac Jones. The Jaguars, in Mac Jones, the last 8 quarters, 7 quarters without touchdowns. Mac Jones is just straight up not a good quarterback, and the offense just doesn't move with Mac Jones back there. But so that's pretty much that. And we'll see how the Jaguars do coming back. Of course, Tank Bigsby missed last game, but we're coming off of a bye week, so a lot of players rested. Not too much to say outside of that. So we can go ahead and go to Derek. Derek, what's going on with the injury front for the Houston Texans or for the Indianapolis Colts?
Well, I don't know anything about no Houston Texans, but I will say Josh Downs did go out of the game with, I originally thought he broke his collarbone, but then only to find out he came back in the next drive, but then ended up being held out for the remainder of the game. He is considered week to week with a shoulder injury. They said likelihood is he's not going to be out for 4 weeks, but the likelihood of him playing this next week against New England is probably almost none.
All right, next we'll go to Titans. Rossi, man, what's going on in the injury sheet?
I mean, no real major injuries from this game, which is good. And Titans got a couple guys that are going to be coming back soon. So I mean, nothing extremely major to report.
Ruben, let's hear from you, man.
Yeah, unfortunately, boys, the Houston Texans are going to be without star safety Jalen Petrie for a while. He was having a fantastic year 3 and messed up his pec during the game against Tennessee. We are still waiting to hear whether or not we're going to have surgery, but tough loss for the Houston Texans defense. Petrie has been your safety / linebacker. He's been having himself a hell of a year, man.
All right, so that's the injury front. So not too much really going on. Of course, the Texans going through their own issues, but Petrie is definitely a big loss for them. So, there's definitely a lot of burning questions around the AFC South. But I think even though the Tennessee Titans kind of upset the Texans, I think a lot of people are looking at the Texans right now because, of course, this offseason, a lot of people are really anointing the Houston Texans and CJ Stroud. They're going to be that next team. They're in that next level. And they start off, very much as we expected, 5-1. But now we're kind of seeing a lot of concerns revolving the Houston Texans. So I got a question for Ruben, man. This is a simple question, but it is also a loaded question. Are the Houston Texans frauds?
I mean, I don't like to use the words fraud, but I'll say, go ahead, say frauds, pretenders, whatever the hell. They deserve to be called that after yesterday. Right now your offense is struggling. You're second your quarterback, CJ Stroud. He's having that phrase sophomore slump that we don't want to use. I've been saying this all the way back in week 4, week 5, that all these unnecessary hits and this shutting down in quarters 3 and 4 are going to catch up to CJ Stroud. And now they have it. Now we see him struggling. And you have a bye next week, and you have 3 games in 10 days against Dolphins, Chiefs, and Ravens. You have an opportunity to fix this. There is one move I think the Houston Texans can make to try to turn this around. But right now, it's not looking good, UCF. This offense is atrocious. In the second half, the Texans are averaging 8 points. And in 5 games, the Texans have not scored a touchdown in the second half. Our defense has more touchdowns in quarters 3 and 4 in the last 5 games than our offense. There is an issue right now, and there is one clear, option to how you can fix this. I just wonder if the Houston Texans are going to do that or not.
Man, so I mean, at this point in the season, can you really make any big changes? I mean, you would think a couple weeks ago, but yeah. We're about, the next game is in December. I mean, do you really shake things up and potentially fire an offensive coordinator? Do you maybe keep him as OC, but let another guy call plays? Like, how do you fix the situation right now with the Texans?
Yeah, so that's where I'm leaning to. The second one, you don't have to fire Bobby Slowick just yet, but taking away play calling duties and giving them to quarterback coach Gerard Johnson, who has known CJ Stroud since high school. Gerard Johnson was given a raise to stay 1 more year with CJ Stroud, so he could potentially be the offensive coordinator next year. This is right here the move that I think they can make. Now, will it solve the Houston Texans' problems? Probably not. But who knows what a fresh breath of air could do for the Houston Texans offense. And the fact that CJ Stroud has known Gerard Johnson since the Elite 11 all the way back when he was in high school. To me, I think this is the change. If he is going to potentially be your offensive coordinator next year, get a head start right now and just think about what could happen when you still have a bye week and, 3 games against playoff teams in 10 days.
And, of course, I know for myself, man, when you have a quarterback that is playing well, they're going to get a lot of the flowers and a lot of the praise. But when things are going bad, rightfully so or rightfully not, like the quarterback's going to get a lot of the blame. And now you're starting to see, really on Twitter, people saying that, man, CJ Stroud, big time sophomore slump. CJ Stroud, maybe he's not that good. You're seeing everything kind of being said on Twitter right now. How much of this do you see that's on CJ Stroud? And do you think that he's just in a terrible situation right now with the Texans.
Well, like I said, I think this was a product of everything that went on during the season. Week 2 against Chicago Bears, Sunday Night Football, they put out a blueprint, on how to beat the Houston Texan offense, and that is just abusing their offensive line. We have the highest paid O-line in the NFL, and they are highest in the NFL in terms of pressure rate allowed. Week 7, you saw CJ Stroud grab his helmet against the Green Bay Packers, throw it on the floor, and I said right there, that is a sign that your quarterback is frustrated, and you need to fix it now before it starts to lose your games. Now CJ is losing you games, and now it's how do we get here? Well, your offensive line has been shit since day one. Your offensive coordinator can't put a game plan together, and you still have 5 games left of the season, and this is the toughest part of your schedule right here. But like I said, the Texans, CJ, they deserve all the, the negative headlines that they are getting.
Yeah. And when you look at it, when we kind of visited the schedule last week, I think it's looking a little bit tougher this week. I mean, of course, you have the Jaguars, which they're not very good, but they might have Trevor Lawrence back, so that does make the team a little bit better. Miami is looking better at this point in the season. Also, Kansas City and Baltimore, those are 2 tough games. And end it in Tennessee against a team that you just lost to, and Tennessee's playing a lot better football. So, things with the Houston Texans right now, of course, they have a good record, 7-5. And, of course, I mentioned the last couple of years where we've had teams collapse, but in order for that to happen, you have to have one team that's not playing well, which, you kind of have in the Houston Texans, but you also have another team that's playing near perfect football, which I'm not sure at this point you can necessarily say about any other team in the AFC South, but the Colts do have a pretty easy schedule coming up, so they're the only team that could potentially do it. But we'll get to the Colts. But look, there was a winning side to this game. Of course, the Tennessee Titans, man, how about that? I mean, winning this game at 32-27, winning the game off of a safety. Will Levis going out there slinging the ball all around. Titans Rossi, man, like, how are you guys feeling right now about like Will Levis? Because I know, we were kind of talking about maybe tanking this. Will Levis isn't, Callahan's guy, but if Will Levis keeps playing good football, you guys are going to keep winning. And obviously you guys might play yourselves out of one of these top picks to get a quarterback. Give us a pulse of the Titans fan base and kind of where you're at with Will Levis and just the team overall.
Yeah, I mean, right now, for the last 3 games, Will Levis has been playing pretty well. Now, he's been sacked 20 times, which is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, thinking about that Texans game, if you looked at the defensive stats for the Texans and you say, pick 6, 8 sacks, I mean, it's like it's a no-brainer, right? I mean, especially with the way the Titans have been all season for the most part. Now, if you're talking about the Titans of 3 or 4 years ago when you had AJ Brown and they were cooking with Henry and all that, maybe so. But I mean, for them to win that game, it was just I think it's a good feeling for Titans fans. It's like the one team you want to win against is the Texans. I think honestly that's our biggest rival right now is the Houston Texans. I think a lot of that has to do with the uniforms, the Oiler logo, the history, all that.
Why don't you wear your Oiler hat today, man?
Right, yeah. And I said when the Titans win, I'm gonna wear this hat, so I figured I'd stick with it, but I really should have. But it's like, you know what? I don't know, man. I'll give you Texans fans a break. I'm not gonna jab you. I know it hurts losing to the Titans, especially.
Give us a break. Come on, man. We got 7 wins. This is your 3rd.
Yeah.
You got the break, brother. You got the break. You get an opportunity to feel some good stuff.
But right. I mean, here's what I will say though. I mean, if you want me to go after the Texans, I think the Texans are in trouble, man. Like, honestly, I do. Look at their record. I mean, we brought it up. I mean, look at their schedule remaining. I mean, you got Baltimore, Kansas City, Miami, who's playing better. You got Tennessee the last game of the season. And say what you want, okay? Like say, oh, we sacked Will Levis 8 times this game. We picked 6 them, all this stuff. It still doesn't matter because we're still going to come and we're still going to give it our best against you guys, and we're still going to give it a game. And right now, look, the Titans are 1-1 in the division. So are the Colts, I believe, right, Derek?
I think we're worse than that. I think we're worse.
No, you guys are 1-3. You guys are 1-3. The Jaguars are 1-1. The Titans and the Jaguars are 1-1 in the division.
500, baby.
So, I mean, realistically, if you think about the Texans are in trouble, man. Like if you think about the Colts right now are 1-3, they're going to have a tough time digging back into the division. It is not out of the realm. Now, people are going to say I'm nuts and crazy. It is not out of the realm of possibility. It's not. Like it's a very small chance. But if for some reason CJ Stroud keeps throwing interceptions and pick sixes and playing like he is, and the Texans' offensive line is playing like, which they played better this game, but, you know, a little bit. They had a lot of pressures, not as much sacks. But I'm telling you, man, like this thing is not over yet. And I don't think the Titans
see what one win does.
Ruben, I'll be completely honest with you.
Though,
Even if Indy somehow found a way to do it, I honestly don't even
know. He's talking about his team. He's talking about the Titans making a run.
Well, you out here tripping.
You see what one win does to
Indy don't have a shot because they're 1-3 in the division.
You think you do? Come on now.
The only way
it doesn't matter about divisional record if we end up with a better record than the Houston Texans. We're only 2 games behind them.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. But still, I mean, look, I just think all I'm saying is like the Texans are in trouble right now. Like it's not just all roses and everything down in Houston. I mean, look what happened this weekend. Look what's happened the last few weekends. And I'm not saying, look, this game gave us some hope, all right? Let us have a little hope.
Yes, please keep Callahan. Please keep Will Levis, right? We'll see them next year. Please do that.
And he's played well. Like the last 3 games, he's played really well. 5 TDs, 2 interceptions. He's had 107.2 passer rating. Who has been the best quarterback from the 2023 draft class since October? Will Levis with a 97.4.
Congrats, and it's done nothing for you. Congrats, and it's done nothing for you. You're still second to last in this garbage division.
Where has Anthony Richardson been? 68.9. Where is Willie Jeans? Willie Levis, the Mayo man who's eating bananas with pills on it and freaking putting mayo in coffee. He's number 1.
Okay, we're going to keep the same energy next week. After
how do y'all feel about that?
Hey, the Titans have a lot of AFC South games coming up, man.
He's gonna die before he ever reaches his climax, given the fact that he holds.
All right, I'm done messing with y'all.
I mean, the Titans, you guys have a chance to really. I mean, what that was your So you have 2 AFC South games down, still 4 more. So you have a chance to smack every quarterback in the AFC South. So that's gonna be fun to start to monitor and see how you guys do. But yeah, I think still got to kind of limit the turnovers. Had himself. Then you have a pick 6 that game too. So you gotta figure out how to limit that. Couple super chats here. We have Jackson says Tennessee going 9-8, 7th seed. Do the Texans collapse? Why do the Titans play with my heart every damn season?
They're playing with your heart. They're playing with your wallet, Jackson. Thank you for the $4.99.
I mean, hey, the Titans are 3-8 right now. He's got Rossi talking about taking over this division
and winning the division. That's crazy.
That's a little bit nutty, but hey, man, I'm
at least he admits it.
I mean, I voted to legalize marijuana, so I feel you, Rossi.
Rossi smoked the ball and was, Titans Super Bowl. Here we go.
We have Paul Wilson, another Titans fan. He says, okay, hopes and dreams, Rossi. Lay off that hopium. You still have to come to Indy. Oh, wait, no, Paul's an Indy fan. That's right.
That's right. My boy Paul.
Right now. The rich man Paul.
Hey, yeah, and that's what's fun about the Titans, man. It's end of the season. They got nothing. Actually, they have a potential playoff spot to lose, I guess we should say, but they're going to be playing with their heads on fire. Will Levis is going to try to keep his job. You ain't going to draft no quarterback because you ain't going to be drafted in the top 10, is what Will Levis is saying over there. So we're going to shift. Of course, we're going to talk about this game a little bit later. Let's go to Derek, man. Hey, Anthony Richardson had himself a big game last week, but of course this week played the best team in the NFL. So of course it's going to be hard. to do this one. Y'all lost 24-6, but we'll recap that game a little bit later. But I want to talk about Anthony Richardson. How did you feel about him, coming off of last week's performance?
Well, here's the thing. I think that a good amount of national media people finally got what I have been saying about Anthony Richardson all season. It's not been the fact that obviously at the beginning of the year, there were multiple times where Anthony Richardson clearly the accuracy was not there, but he had another one of those box score performances where it's like, who is watching the box score rather than watching the game based on if they reference the completion percentage again. If
we'll say this before he says that.
They're watching the box score.
To give some context, what he's talking about, Anthony Richardson's stats: 11 for 28, 172 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Go.
Yes, and Anthony Richardson, believe it or not, was the third highest graded Colts player that whole game, in spite of those. And actually, this week was actually I think per PFF was actually the 7th highest rated quarterback of all the league when it came to overall QB grade. Because again, when you looked at it, it has nothing to do with the completion percentage. It had everything to do with the Indianapolis Colts were a complete shit show on Sunday. Their offense was a complete shit show. I mean, we're talking about Anthony Richardson here, so I'll have a chance to talk about everybody else here in a little bit. And believe me, there's a lot to discuss. But as far as how Anthony Richardson looked, yes, a couple throws, again, still wish he could have had back. It's going to be like that for a while. But I did think the mechanics were once again there. He made some throws that at the beginning of the year he normally missed because his legs weren't in the right position. Overall, I thought that Anthony Richardson played well despite how the rest of the team played.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys played a tough opponent. When you look at the Detroit Lions, 3 wins in a row against the AFC South. When you look at just the last 2 games against the Jaguars and Colts, they have outscored opponents 76-12. They're a pretty good football team. But yeah, it's an interesting one. So, I guess we'll stick to this one, man. While we're on the topic, and I guess I'll give my Jaguar spiel because we talked about a little bit of you guys. Look, the Jaguars are coming off of a bye week. I know last week Jaguar fans were in a weird mood because we all thought that after reports came out that Doug Peterson was potentially on the hot seat to get fired at the Detroit Lions game if they were to lose, and the Jaguars lost like 52-6. It was ridiculous, but nothing happened. Nobody moved. And, yesterday, Doug Peterson met with the media. He said, "Oh, guys, look, internal change has happened with this team. I've done a lot of stuff, but I'm not going to let you guys know what happened," which is the equivalent to saying that,
nothing.
Yes, you have a girlfriend, but they go to a different school. I don't believe anything that he says. Like, it doesn't really make sense if you just can't go out and sit. Like, why can't you say it? Why can't you say anything? I don't know. He's a dead man walking right now. He just has no energy in these press conferences. Like Trevor Lawrence, it looks like there's a good chance that he plays. The reports were that he was definitely going to be out against the Lions, but will probably play after that, after the bye week. So he'll be out there playing. I don't know why. If he potentially needs surgery, I don't know why they don't just give him surgery. But we all know Trevor Lawrence is a very competitive player. And, the Jaguars still have 4 games left against the AFC South. So maybe he's going to try to stand on his business and try to win some games and go 3-3 and make us fall down the tankathon rankings. But it's okay. It's okay, right? It's all about the culture. It's all about the culture of making sure that your next head coach and GM have a good time here. But I'd rather them have a good time with number 1 overall pick. But hey, if Trevor Lawrence is out there playing, it's going to be hard for me not to root for them to beat, some of these AFC South foes in the building right here. So we'll see. The Jaguars are terrible. The record is 2-9 at this point. And I said this before because people give me grief for rooting against the Jaguars at this point. It's like, look, when you're 2-9, I don't blame anybody for how they be a fan of their team. Look, if you want to cheer for your team to win every game, that's cool. If you want to cheer for your team to lose every game, that's cool too. If you only want to cheer for your team and when Trevor Lawrence is playing, that's cool. I don't care. Do what you want to do. The Jaguars, the season is over. They may not be mathematically eliminated, but I'm pretty sure if they lose to the Texans, they are mathematically eliminated, which basically means that if they go 5-1, they're probably eliminated down the stretch. So you have to be damn near perfect. It ain't going to happen. So, root for the Jaguars, however you want to root for the Jaguars. That's all I got to say. So, with that said, I do want to go ahead and get into some, individual games. But real quick, guys, just so you guys all know, these streams are all powered by BetUS, and we can actually go to the website right here, take a look at some of the odds for this upcoming weekend. And if we want to, we can even place a bet on one of these games. So let's see. We got it up on the screen. Good. Okay, we'll just do like that. Okay, so a few Thanksgiving games, Bears and Lions. Bears are 10-point underdogs. We have Cowboys and Giants, another crap game, 3.5-point favorites the Cowboys are. Miami Dolphins and Packers, that's a pretty sneaky good game. Packers are 3-point favorites, and of course, we have the Vegas Raiders and Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs are 13-point favorites, man. That's pretty crazy. So, I think, look, we're all going to be enjoying Turkey Day. We're all going to be ready for the 8:20 kickoff after we all eat. Let's go ahead and go around the table and see what some quick predictions, and we'll put some money on this one. Miami Dolphins and Green Bay Packers. Packers are 3-point favorites. Derek, who do you think's got this one?
Okay. It's gonna be at home for Green Bay. It's gonna be a colder environment. We know how the Dolphins are when you have to deal with that. So give me Green Bay.
How about you, Ruben? I know you want to talk.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I'm going Green Bay. Also, I have this conspiracy, boys, that Mike McDaniels will be the new offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans next year. So we're rooting Green Bay Packers here. I'm taking the 3.
All right. How about you, Rossi?
Yeah, I'm going to take the 3 with the Packers too, especially at Lambeau.
All right. So we got that. I'm going to put a cool $20 on this one. Okay.
$20. You got 2,000.
Yeah, but
put 50
on it. Yeah,
put 50. Put 50 on it.
Yeah, man.
I'll put 50 on it. Okay, I'll put 50 on it. Look, I've carefully won this money methodically by placing very, very intelligent bets. And I like this one right here. Okay, I like this one right here. So if you guys are interested in joining in on the fun, guys, awesome promo code at BetUS. Use promo code YouTube150 for a 150% deposit bonus. They're giving away money, guys. Go grab it while you can. And, of course, this Friday we'll be doing the previews for this upcoming weekend's games. So definitely tune into that, and we'll put some money on every game in the AFC South too. So big shout out to BetUS for powering these streams. And I'm going to go ahead and reformat. Boom. We're all right back where we need to be. So I guess first, we'll go ahead and start off with the Colts Lions game. Of course, look, all of us picked the Lions to beat the Colts. It wasn't, when you're a Colts fan and you're kind of you're budgeting for the season. I'm like, okay, with these next games, like how many games do we need to win to be able to go in here? I think all Colts fans are marking this one as an L. So it's not too big of a deal that the Colts lost to the Lions, and the Lions, of course, are 10-1. They're just a really good football team. I want to hear it from Derek. Derek, coming away from this one, just give us your overall thoughts on this game.
Well, it came down to a couple different things. Mainly the offensive line play, terrible. I mean, this was the absolute epitome of the worst performance of an offensive line I have ever seen under this regime. It's bad. And also, UCF, I forgot to mention, our backup center, Tanner Bortolini, is also in concussion protocol now. So now I don't even know who our backup center is at this point, as if it matters right now. So just to give you an idea of what the blocking grades were for this team, Matt Gonsalves, who's our backup left tackle right now because Bernard Ryman's dealing with a knee injury, he was the best graded performer with a 72.9. Next best, Tanner Bortolini with a 61.5. Third best, Braden Smith, our one of our only 2 real starters, had a 58.4. The next best, Dalton Tucker at a 44.4. You know who was dead last? Your captain on the offensive line, Quentin Nelson, who had an all-time low in a game of a 36.9. He allowed 5 pressures, 3 QB hurries, 3 QB hits, and had 3 penalties all by himself. So that was absolutely atrocious what we saw from him in that game. And this was all about Anthony Richardson trying to survive this game. He was pressured on over 49% of his dropbacks. So nearly half the time he dropped back to pass, he was under pressure because of this O-line. There has only been 3 instances this year where a quarterback has been pressured 45+% of the time and has taken 0 sacks. Anthony Richardson has done it twice. So again, shows you that regardless of how much pressure you get on Anthony Richardson, most of the time you're not getting the sack on him, which is absolutely incredible that that's even a stat. But I want to remind everybody here. So the Indianapolis Colts had 10 penalties against them, against the Lions. Now, there was a couple that I'll admit were bad. They shouldn't have been called. But nevertheless, I mean, most of them were holds or false starts. But the Lions really only had 2 penalties up until the final 5 minutes of the game, when the game was pretty much over at that point. So clearly the refs were blowing it in the direction of the Colts, but not for the Lions. So the first drive for the Indianapolis Colts, Ogletree had a hold, which wiped out a 20-yard pass to Granson on the first drive. And then on the next drive, Quentin Nelson had a ineligible man downfield that prevented us from going for it on a 4th and 1. It caused us to do a 3rd and 6, and then we didn't get the 3rd down. He had to throw it away the next play because he was getting pressured, and the Indianapolis Colts had to go down and only kick a field goal rather than getting a touchdown when they were down at the 4-yard line. The third drive, our tight end Ogletree again dropped a 12-yard touchdown pass. So, again, another one wiped out. Alec Pierce got called for an offensive pass interference, which wiped out a 30-yard pass to Josh Downs. Jonathan Taylor had a 20-yard run that was wiped out because of a hold. Ashton Doolin dropped a 30-yard bomb from Anthony Richardson because he couldn't get both feet in bounds on a clearly easy catch, but forgot where he was standing, right? And then Granson was wide open on a seam pass where the Lions brought like 7 or 8 guys, and then Anthony Richardson threw it right to him. Is like, he's wide open. Granson didn't look around or look behind him to see that Richardson threw the ball to him. And that was another 25, 30-yard pass that was also taken away. I mean, I could keep going with this, guys. I have so much. There was 150 yards that were negated because of penalties and a whole bunch of other things that, would have put the Colts in a position to win this game. Yes, they lost by 18, but this game was a 2-score game for 3 quarters, or a 1-score game for 3 quarters. This team had every opportunity to win this game, but they didn't. The tight end sucked. Which is hilarious because, again, Ballard saying before the season started, we have 7 tight ends on this roster. Then they all have good qualities and they all can contribute to this team. And Anthony Richardson doesn't have to carry us. Well, guess what? They all suck. They all suck. I'm at the point where I'm telling the Indianapolis Colts, you need to draft Tyler Warren and Harold Fannin Jr., 2 tight ends back-to-back to start this next draft, or else you just failed as a GM because you have no help at the tight end position, no help at the offensive line position because you're getting injured more and more and nobody's stepping up on anything. Dude, I am so upset. Again, it had nothing to do with the fact that you lost the game. We all expected the Indianapolis Colts to lose the game, but when it came down to it, It's that the offense looked like it took a step back. And I hate that so much. They looked so good the first week against the Jets. And then, Anthony Richardson supplying all the stuff that he learned, but nobody stood up for him in this game. And I'm frustrated the way that it turned out.
Man, it sucks as I was about to say all that when I gave my take. It's all good. We'll go ahead and move on to Titans Rossi. Titans Rossi, give us your thoughts, man.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the one consolation you could give the Colts is, they didn't get beat up as bad as the Titans and Jaguars did against the Lions. I mean, they played the best against the Lions other than the Texans. I mean, the Texans almost got them. That was a close game. But yeah, I mean, the Anthony Richardson saga continues. I know a lot of people are out there talking crap about Anthony Richardson, even Colts fans. I've seen it on X and everything else. And I think that Anthony Richardson still has the ability to be a good quarterback in this league. And I think that right now for the Colts, that's what you want. Like, that's what you want to focus on, is getting him better, getting him consistent, catching the freaking ball for him. I know they had a lot of drops. I did see that on X, actually. I saw a lot of plays where they had drops and things like that. But look, I mean, the Lions are a Super Bowl contender type of team. Like, it's going to take any team's best game to even get close to beating them at this point. I mean, they're just a good football team, right? Like, they're one of those teams where I felt like all season, like this might be their year. I still don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl because, like, to me, they're still the Lions. Like, they're just, I don't know if it's like quite there yet. I think they could get there. I don't know if they would win it. But I think they have the ability to. And yeah, I mean, the Colts offensive line needs to play better. Of course, obviously you can't have Quentin Nelson playing that type of football when he's your guy, like he's your captain. And that's the Colts' strong suit. So I don't know, man. I think it's going to be up and down like this for AR. And I think it's not only him. I think it has to do with his receivers, and I need Josh Downs to be healthy, by the way, Derek, because he's on my fantasy team, and come on, man.
Well, you can count him out this week. He might be back for the Denver game after our bye, but that's about it.
Well, that's right.
Well, we have a super chat from a Colts fan. He says, "Y'all can laugh at Derek all you want, but he's right." Look, nobody was laughing at Derek. We were laughing at Anthony.
I think he's referring more to the chat, but Oh,
okay. No, and we just laugh. We smile because Derek's so passionate and he brings all the stats. And look, he knows what he's talking about. Absolutely. Like I said, I was gonna bring the same energy. I had all the stats ready, but luckily I let Derek go first, and that's why we let the host, the team representative go ahead and speak first. So we'll go down the line. Ruben, what did you think about this game?
I think this is a game where you can say Anthony Richardson was not the problem. It was his supporting cast. And there was multiple moments where, the Colts receivers just dropped the ball. Derek talked about the penalties. Those catch up to you. And those penalties always come at the worst moments where you get a big play and then boom, you see the flag on the floor. I did not expect the offensive line to be as weak as it was on Sunday. But that just goes to show you how good Anthony Richardson is at, escaping the pocket and, not kind of just getting the sack, but making himself open. This is the best team in the NFL, guys. And, I saw my team pick Jared Goff off 5 times and I still lost the game. So I think there are a lot of positives to take if you are just solely looking at Anthony Richardson, Derek. And, to be honest, that's what I would do because this is my young potential franchise quarterback. Michael Pittman showed today that he can perform against a top team in the NFL. So even though you lost, man, even though you only put up 6 points, there are still some, good takeaways from this, from your young guys. Just, you ran into one of the best in the NFL.
Yeah, and I mean, to give my takes on this one, like, really, it's hard because right now I think the Colts are a fringe playoff team, but they're not a Super Bowl team, and they just played a Super Bowl team. Like, the Colts aren't at that level yet, and honestly, there's a reason why, like on Bet US, the Lions have the highest odds to win the Super Bowl because they are good. They are on a mission. They are not just, they're not like the Chiefs where they're skating by and winning these games, but still able to put them away. I mean, they're just dominating. They're dominating right now. And, the Jaguars fell into their buzzsaw. I mean, and the Colts did. And even a couple weeks before now, the Texans made it a lot more interesting. They picked Jared Goff off 5 times. They made it a game. But, even they were able to take them down. And now, much like the Minnesota Vikings, now the Detroit Lions are 4-0 against the AFC South. So not very good against the NFC North Roundtable if we're going to bring them in here. But Derek, you have your hand raised.
If I can continue here for just one more second. Okay, yeah. Just one more second.
We need more Anthony Richardson
defending. A 4th and 8 where the Indianapolis Colts decided to go for it at the 50-yard line, okay? And Anthony Richardson avoided the pressure and on the run hit Josh Downs for a 25-yard pass and completion that would have gave them a first down. Still a 1-possession game, by the way. And Braden Smith got called for a hold on that play, and then we ended up having to punt it. So, again, like, I can keep going with this. I have so many plays where it was just I gave up at the start of the fourth quarter. I gave up. Like, I literally gave up. I was like, I honestly, at that point, barely even did a live play-by-play at that point. I was just so frustrated with seeing so much laundry on the floor all the time that I just decided I just don't even care at this point.
Yeah. And look, man, if my aunt had a penis, she'd be my uncle, bro. I feel you on that. But, I'll go ahead and keep the talk going. Look, I think any game where Jonathan Taylor, I don't know what the stats are. But I'd be willing to bet any game where Jonathan Taylor has 15 or less carries, they're probably going to lose the game. Okay. And he had 11 carries, 35 yards. Anthony Richardson was the leading rusher of this game. 10 carries for 61 yards. But like I said, man, I'm not taking too much into this game just because I feel like they're just a different class. But now you're in an interesting situation with the Indianapolis Colts. Look, you have, of course, the Texans reeling right now, and they have a decently tough schedule left. When you look at the Colts coming up, man, like, I do think they're going to have to run the table. But 4 of their next 5 games are against teams with losing records. And, hey, you're going to have to win some tough games. And you're playing the Denver Broncos, which that is going to be a must-win game. Not only for AFC South, but if they potentially want a wild card spot. So, yeah, the Colts are going to have to run a table. They got a bunch of very winnable games. And now I'm going to really start looking at the Colts. And now I'm really going to start looking at Anthony Richardson and really trying to say, okay, can he put this team on his back? I do think that, of course, I don't think it really matters how bad he plays. I do think that he'll be the starting quarterback in 2025, but he has a real opportunity here, man. He has a real opportunity to beat up on some bad teams, win the game against a, pretty good, I'd say they're a pretty good team, the Denver Broncos. They're slated in there for a playoff spot, but lots of interesting things at stake for the Indianapolis Colts, and we'll see really how they finish off this year. So with all that said, I do want to transition to the Texans and Titans game. Big time upset here. I don't think anybody in this roundtable saw it coming. Of course, I think on Bet US, the Texans were like 8 or 9 point favorites. And of course, they wound up losing 32-27. Before we get into this game, though, I want to ask everybody, look, guys, if you are enjoying this stream, please do us a favor and drop a like for us. That is a great way and a free way to support this channel. If you guys are enjoying these shows, there's no other channel out there like it, and Roundtable Sports is doing a great job over here when it comes to bringing these divisions together and being able to talk about all these different teams with some of the best YouTubers in the game. So please drop us a like. All our channels are down below too, and also subscribe to the Roundtable Sports. That's their mother channel. They have all kinds of live streams over there, and subscribe to all different division roundtables as well, man. We're building something special over here, but we cannot do it without your support. So go over there and do it. And like I said, we really appreciate all you guys so much for being here. So with that said, to the victor goes the spoils. Titans Rossi, you haven't had many opportunities to really come out here and puff your chest out. You know, I mean, I've seen a Denver Titan Rossi today, man. You guys are 3-8 and you're talking about winning the AFC South. You know, I love it, man. I love it. I love the energy. You know, tell us, you know, give us your thoughts about this game. I want to hear it from you, man.
Yeah, you know, I said before the game, I think I did it in our chat group or whatever on X. I just said trap game for the Texans. I just felt like, look, I woke up Sunday, right? I mean, during the roundtable last week, I predicted us to lose. And, you know, there was a couple Titans fans in the comments like crying about it and crying how I didn't blame the whole loss on the Vikings against the refs and crying about this and that. Some of the couple of the fans that always post on the channel, on the comments, that are Titans fans, not anybody that's in here now, I don't think, but you know, like, I'm not the type of fan to sit here and like cry about certain things, like about my team. Like, I try to see it realistically. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, of course, I'm happy as hell about the win. You know, I'm happy about how Will Levis has been playing over the past 3 games. I think that Brian Callahan is starting to get a feel for what his strengths are. The sacks are a huge issue. Like, he is getting beat up. And that's what I said before this game. I think I said it on the roundtable last week. Like, if I'm the Texans, I'm coming after Will Levis. And that's what they did. But you cannot deny, like, for any football fan out there, there were a few throws that he made in that game that were absolutely phenomenal, awesome NFL throws. Like, for real. I mean, he made some throws that some guys in this league can't even make. You know what I'm saying? And that's the type of Will Levis, like, that we know he could be. You know, like, he almost became a meme with the pick 6. So with that, he could have, you know, lost the game for him. But luckily, CJ Stroud returned the favor as far as that goes. And luckily, CJ Stroud just played worse that game. But it was just one of those games, man, where I just had this weird feeling on Sunday morning that the Titans were going to come out and play well. I still didn't think they were going to win the game, but they did. They came out and played well. You know, I mean, Nico Collins was still Nico Collins. Like, that dude is super impressive, man. Like, watching him play, the way he runs, the dude is just like, having him out there. But I don't know, man. I don't know what the issue is with CJ Stroud right now. Like, I you know, the Titans did get some pressure on him, but I mean, I think we had 3 sacks on him. No, we had 4 sacks. So I guess we did get to him quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, the offensive line and Fairbairn missing the field goal at the end of the game was just mind-blowing.
That guy's automatic.
I mean, 28-yard field goal. He's hit like an NFL record for 50-plus yard field goals. And I think it was just that type of day for the Texans. Like, I really do. I think it was just a bad luck, bad timing type of day. Maybe they overlooked the Titans a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't know. But yeah, no, I mean, I am happy for my Titans. And it doesn't just come from this game. Like, it's not just from this game. Yes, we lost the last 2 games, but the offense is moving better. Will Levis is playing better football. And really, that's all I want to see. Realistically, are we going to win out or win 5 out of the last 6 games? No. You know what I mean? Is it a possibility we could pull 3 or 4 of them out? I think so. If the Titans play sound offense and they are able to move the football, the defense is pretty good. You know, they've been pretty good all season for the most part. Do I think they're realistically going to come out and, you know, win 6 games in a row? No, I don't think so. But what I'm excited to see is if Will Levis can continue this type of play, and if the Titans can, like, build upon this for the future. That's what I'm excited about. And I think that's what, honestly, a lot of Titans fans are excited about. So I'll shut up now. Ruben, you take the stage.
Hey, man, you know, shout out to you guys. Y'all definitely came in and you punched us in the mouth, so I'll give you guys that. But, you know, what we saw in the second half was what we've seen from the Houston Texans the entire year, which is a complete collapse in quarters 3 and 4. Will Levis, they beat us on the big plays. Cody Mills all the way in week 1. They almost beat us on the big plays. Jimmy Ward is a complete liability out there. I was surprised how Tony Pollard was so slippery back there. Like, I mean, the Texans had him wrapped up for -4 yards, breaks the tackle, then pops it out for 20. Maybe it was just that day for the Houston Texans, but, it couldn't come against a worse opponent. There's actual beef here, boys, between the Houston Texans and the Tennessee Titans. And with CJ Stroud, you see those 2 interceptions, and they're just as ugly as they can get. And I was saying this is a sophomore slump. And here's the thing, guys, like when you have a young franchise quarterback, I've been saying, why isn't the sense of urgency at an all-time high? This is a product of your inability to keep him upright, having an offensive coordinator who doesn't know how to game plan. You have both your second-year quarterback and your second-year OC having a slump at the same time. I mean, what are we doing here, guys? I think that when it comes to CJ, all changes need to be made. This is your young baby, your young franchise quarterback. He is just allowed to go to a bar and drink a beer, and he's being in charge of $1 billion franchise. So there is some concerns with that, man. I hope D'Amico Ryans figures this out. There are already some fans questioning D'Amico Ryans, right? Because it seems like whenever you're a D'Amico Ryans guy, you can pretty much do whatever you want. And that's not, what you want to see from a head coach who you think is the guy. But overall, this was a game where Tennessee came in. They punched you in the mouth. Will Levis definitely looked like a potential starting quarterback for you. You can say he was better than CJ Stroud. The defensive line, they took over, at the end, just creating tons of pressure on my quarterback. And it's crazy, guys. The Houston Texans have lost games where they had 5 interceptions against the Lions. They lost. And they had 8 sacks against the Tennessee Titans and lost. And the fact that their defense has outscored the offense in the second half in the past 6 games, I mean, this is a clear indication of what the problem is. And I hope we don't continue going on this way, because we've seen this before. This is the same old Houston Texans. You take advantage of a weak division, take advantage of the shitty teams. No one views you as a contender, and you're bounced in the second round. So this was definitely a wake-up call, definitely a loss that the owners are upset about. Hannah McNair, who was talking trash in the offseason, she doesn't look too good right now, but shout out to Tennessee.
Yeah, and I know for myself, like, I wasn't really hitting a panic button too much on the Houston Texans until this last week, because before the Dallas Cowboy game, you had some tough opponents. I mean, you lose to the, Green Bay Packers and the Lions, and for whatever reason, there's just not a good matchup with the Jets. But then you finally go out and say, hey, Dallas Cowboys aren't a good team. We got to win this one on Monday Night Football, and they destroyed them. So, I thought that, maybe some of the mojo is back, but, when you lose to the Tennessee Titans like this, like, you're supposed to be a lot better than them. And they went in there into your house and beat them. And, in my opinion, like, at this point in the season, we're kind of getting very, very late. It's not like you're having struggles in September or October. We're getting into December now. I mean, we're 2 days away from Thanksgiving, and, this thing just still hasn't been fixed. And, for me, I hear a lot of people kind of pointing at the offensive line, CJ Stroud, Bobby Slowick. I put a lot on, D'Amico Ryans, because look, we all knew that
happen.
Yeah, we all knew that, look, there was now a target on the Houston Texans' back. And it's really fun to play that role with the Texans were last year, because the Jaguars were in a similar role 2 years ago, where you were the hunter. Nobody has any expectations of you, and it almost feels like you're playing with house money, just, having fun, winning these games. And now you're the number 1 seed, or now you're like the number 1 team in the AFC South. Everybody is picking you to win. People are putting you up in that echelon with the Chiefs, with the Ravens, with the Bills, after only having a year of success. Can you guys go out there and do it? And right now, it feels like something's missing. Something's missing. And it's not like, a point at like, this is wrong. There's a lot wrong. And if Bobby Sloak is the issue, D'Amico Ryans should have made a move there. It feels like D'Amico Ryans is playing way too buddy, and it's good up to a point. Like, you want to be a likable guy, you want to have, you want guys to respect you, but you also have to understand, like with Dan Campbell, his first season, as the Lions head coach, he had offensive coordinator, and I think he fired him mid-season, if not mid-season, the year after, like after the season.
No, it was mid-season because they gave it straight to Ben Johnson. Yeah, around week 9 or through 13.
So he immediately recognized it, and I think at this point we all knew that Bobby Sloak was an issue, and he didn't make a move, and just not enough has happened. And D'Amico Ryans clearly doesn't have this team ready right now, and it's hard because obviously what everybody in the NFL wants, they want their team to have sustained success. They want their team to be winning every year. They want to be the Chiefs. They want to be the Ravens. They want to be these teams, that the Bills that are relevant every year, that are dominating their divisions, and not these teams that are winning their divisions because it's super, super weak. So yeah, we'll see how the Texans do, man. I mean, they have games against the Chiefs and Ravens the final 3 weeks of the seasons,
which is why a change would make sense now. You have a bye week after we play you guys, and if he's already in building and he could potentially be your offensive coordinator next year, I'm talking about Gerard Johnson, then why not make the switch? When you see CJ Stroud's body language, I mean, he has his head back. He looks like he's about to cry out there, if I'm being honest with you. And since he's known this dude since high school, why not make the change right now? What could it do? Because in reality, the offense could still be ass, but it's the fact that you made a change and you said this is not good enough and we're going to try to do something. Whether or not they do it, I'm not too sure. But your quarterback is struggling.
And I can relate a lot to Texans fans right now because, both teams have these young quarterbacks that the whole entire fan base believes in, and the coaching is failing him. And you can replace offensive linemen or head coaches, but it's very hard to find these young quarterbacks. And when it feels like you're failing them, and when it feels like, hey, if you insert this player into this franchise, they're going to be killing it. I mean, both me and Ruben probably believe that if Trevor Lawrence or CJ Stroud were over there for the 49ers, they would be killing it over there. But since they're with our organizations, we're holding them down, and that's a crappy feeling. So they've got some stuff to figure out. They'll probably win the AFC South just because there's not a team surging ahead. But man, the last thing you want is to get embarrassed in the first round of the playoffs.
It's the same old Houston Texans, bro. Like you just get washed in the second round, and here we are again. So no, I 100% agree, dude. Right now, I feel like the coaching is not really having the sense of urgency in their head that I would. Because when it comes to your franchise quarterback, I think everything needs to be at a cold red when it comes to his development.
Absolutely. So, with that said, before we move on to Derek, couple of super chats. We have one from Leon, big time Titans fans. He says, really enjoyed watching Ruben try to shrink down and hide behind his hat when they missed that field goal. Hashtag Titan
Dude,
up.
what? Dude, when that moment, and shout out to Leon, I was on the stream and I was like, man, this son of a bitch is going to miss it. And I look up and and he does. And I'm like, we're losing this game. It's done. It was tough, man. It was tough. And he's automatic from 50 plus.
Yeah. It was fun. It was fun with the Jaguars on a bye week because I was flipping between Ruben's channel and Titan Upload's channel. It was just kind of cool seeing the different reactions because that was a fun game, man. It was back and forth, lead changes, and hey, anytime you get the upset win, it's cool to see. So also got one from Paul. AR will ball out the rest of the season. Just watch AR haters. And hey, I don't think I'm an AR hater, but I think that I call it how
I'm a hater. I'll admit it.
I think I call it how I see it. And like I said, right now he has a great opportunity this rest of the season. You got some, crappy opponents, and let's see if he can, rise above the head coaching and everything else that Derek listed. I'm not going to go through it, but everything, if he can overcome that, we'll be good. But all right, Derek, I'm begging and I'm dying to hear your thoughts on this game.
Well, I mean, yeah, this was definitely the surprise of the day, watching the Tennessee Titans beat the Houston Texans. I mean, again, it seems like every week the games are ultimately dictated for the Tennessee Titans based on how the team runs the football. I mean, truly it is. I mean, either Tennessee loses and they get outrushed by like 150 yards, Or you have a game like this where Houston had 40 rushing yards in comparison to 132 rushing yards for the Tennessee Titans. I mean, obviously, a little bit better effort there in the run department. And when you have over 100 more total yards than the other team, you're going to continue to move the ball down the field pretty well. Yeah, Will Levis has, a sort of syndrome that, when Andrew Luck was the quarterback for Indianapolis, fans were just like saying so many times, dude, let go of the football, quit holding on to it so long. It's why you get sacked so much. Obviously, his O-line was trash, and that also had something to do with it. But, I mean, that was a tendency for guys that like to sling it. I mean, you end up holding on to the ball a little too long. And, that is a Will Levis problem right now. That's something he's going to have to try to get better at. And obviously Tennessee's going to have to get him a better O-line as well. But also Houston, you do have a problem. And that is also 11 penalties for 85 yards coming back. That also doesn't help things at all either. So, a lot of key stats for the Tennessee Titans pretty much shifted this. I mean, again, Houston is a better team, but if you dictate in some of the key stats like time of possession, penalties, rushing yards, all of those types of things, and you don't turn the ball over as much as the other team, then you end up winning games and stuff like this. And it's always a tough matchup between two AFC South teams, and just Tennessee got the better of them this time.
Yeah, so definitely a fun game. And look, we have a lot of AFC South games to play. I think the Jaguars have 4 AFC South games. So the Titans coming up. So we have a lot going on within the division. So it's definitely going to be a lot of fun moving forward. So when we take a look at next week, and of course this Friday, we'll go ahead and show you guys kind of a preview of these upcoming games. We have an inner AFC South matchup, man, that the Texans and Jaguars are playing. Of course, the Texans are, kind of on a down streak, but the Jaguars are literally the worst team in the NFL. So, and they have very good history in Jacksonville as well. So, lots going on there, especially from the Texans. And you have the Patriots hosting the Colts on Sunday, and I think the Titans are actually playing the Commanders. Okay, so that will be also a tough one against a good young quarterback. So if you guys want to, get our analysis on these upcoming games, definitely tune into the channel on Friday. We'll go ahead and have that for you guys here. So with all that said, that's going to conclude this show. We'll go ahead and let these different hosts sound off. Derek, what you got coming on the Bring the Juice podcast in the coming days?
Well, in light of, Thanksgiving being this weekend, I'm going to be getting a few videos out, here in the next few days. We're going to be having the preview stream for the Patriots versus the Colts, actually later tonight. So it'll be a late one. If you guys want to check that out. And we'll also be having a breakdown of, Anthony Richardson's performance on Sunday, just to kind of give more context as to the game itself. So that's what's going to be coming up soon.
Sweet, man. Hey, Titans Rossi, what you got coming up?
Yeah, actually got a show tonight on the Titan Upload Network at 8 p.m. Central Time. We will be live with Corey Curtis from News 2 Sports. Here in Nashville, has been covering the team for over like 30 years. So all you Titans fans in here now, join us. And non-Titans fans, if you want to join us too for the heck of it, go ahead. But no, tune in tonight. And, we're always posting content on the channel. So, you guys tune in.
All right. How about you, Ruben? What you got coming up on the 713 Houston Sports YouTube channel?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Tonight we will be having a collab between me and the H-Town Rundown, and we will be joined by former Houston Texans cornerback just last year, Steven Nelson, who's been very critical of this Houston Texans team. We'll be breaking down film. So be part of that tonight. But also, I drop daily Houston Texans content, guys. We hit 13K subscribers just a couple of days ago, and we're trying to get to 15 by the end of the season. Thank you all guys so much, and you three guys, thank you all so much. I really look up to y'all, and this has been fun, man. Thank y'all.
Yeah, man. And coming up on my channel, guys, we have I'm just trying to survive, man. We're 2-9, not a lot of optimism, but I might come out with a video or two here or there. We'll see. But like I said, all these guys' channels are down in the link below. So go get us all.
And Derek got engaged.
And Derek got
yeah, that's right.
Man.
That did happen.
Shout out to Derek, man.
Hey, this is his Colts.
Appreciate you, boys.
His
Appreciate
engagement.
you.
All right.
We're gonna have Ruben showing up in a lowrider with Harley, and they're gonna be coming in and they're gonna crash the wedding whenever it is.
The boys is all the groomsmen.
Hey, yeah. Who are the groomsmen, Derek?
You got a little bit of time, boys. I mean, if somebody wants to, sucker up and give me a little bit of this, maybe
trash
maybe I can move you up a little bit.
All right, I'll FaceTime you later with some good Anthony Richardson stats, okay? And we'll see how far up this power ranking I can go. But appreciate everyone for tuning in. And before we go, these streams are all powered by BetUS. We threw $50. These guys peer pressured me into throwing $50 down on the Thursday night game against the Packers. So we got a lot of skin in the game, okay? A lot of skin in the game. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one. If you guys want to get in on some of this fun action, look, 150% deposit bonus using promo code YouTube150. Thank you guys so much for coming, and enjoy your Thanksgiving.